Okay, so we have treated the moving average indicator, and I say the moving average indicator is used for following the trend. Use it to know when the market is trending. So like here in this upper part of the chart, you can see that all the 4 moving averages are there. They just compressed into that place, meaning, and then you feel that the market is not really moving in that part. So there's no trend. So that's why all of them are just flat like that. But the moment the market starts to move, the moving averages start to spread out. Can you see that? So when you look at a chart and you can see the way your moving average is moving, it helps you to have an idea of the trend. So that's why if you try to insert an indicator, you will find the moving average under the trend indicators, because it is actually a trend indicator. And we say the RSI. RSI helps you to know the momentum of the market. And when we say momentum, we're talking about the speed, how fast the market is moving. It also helps you to know when the market is overbought, when the market is oversold. And if the market is around the 50 line, it just means the market is not really making any serious movement. It's ranging. That is why if you look at this area where your RSI is moving around the 50 line, in your chart, you can see that the chart is not really making any serious movement. You can't really make money from this kind of market much. You understand? Because of the way it is just so it may be difficult to buy and sell and make money, but you can make money from this kind of movement here, this big movement. Can you see? And if you look at that place, you will also see the kind of movement the RSI also made. Okay, so now we don't want to talk about the ATR. The ATR means average true range. Average true range. Let me type it out for you so that you will see the spelling. So ATR means average true range, and the average here is just going to calculate the average range of movements that the market makes a candle. So what it does is that it will check all the candles, like you can tell it the number of candles you want it to check. So it can check from here to here. For example, this big candle you are seeing now, from the top of it, the highest high to the low, it will check how many pips is that, this minus this. It will calculate the number of pips, it will write it down. It will do it for the next one, the highest to the lowest. Do it for the next one, do it for the next one, do it for the next one. It will do it for the number of candles. You tell it to look back and do it. So you can tell it how many, that is the period. You can tell it the period. So you can tell it 14 periods, so it will check the last 14 candles. If you tell it 20 period, it will check the last 20 candles. Are you getting it? So you just, it will start from the last one, yes, and count backwards 14 and stop. So it will add, it will do a subtraction, highest value of a price minus the lowest price. It will get the number of pips. It will do it for the next one, do it for them. It will add all of them. Are you getting it? And divide, and it knows how to arrive at the number. It's a complicated process. I just want you to understand, have an idea of how it is calculated. Not necessarily that you will now start calculating it yourself. Just have an idea of how it is calculated. So when you want to put the ATR on your chart, what you simply do is you go to Insert, Indicators, Oscillators. Can you see ATR, average true range there? Good. So you select it. Now once you select it, it's already set to 21, and the one that set it to 21 like that. So under parameters, this 21 simply means the period it has to look back, the number of candles it needs to check. It's the same period you saw with moving average. It's the same period you saw with RSI. Are you getting it? Notice in RSI we used 7 as the period, right? For the 20 moving average, here we use 20, here we use 50, here we use 100, here we use 200. So the period changes. Are you getting it? So for ATR, you can also use any number. I don't have any specific number I use. I like to use 21. Sometimes I use 14. It depends. Are you getting it? So the next thing, nothing here. I'm recording it. Don't worry. I'm recording it. You'll get the recording. So I think the only thing I do here is change the color, change the period. So let me just say okay, and notice it adds the ATR beneath the RSI. Can you see that? The ATR is added under the RSI. If you look at the ATR, you will see what this ATR chart is telling you is that the ATR was low here, then suddenly the thing was rising. Are you getting it? And then later the ATR was going down. Are you getting it?
Yes.
So it just means that as of here, for example, what is the value of ATR there? 0.137. Then what is the value up here? You can see 0.498, and we are looking at the 1 hour time frame. Are you getting it?
Yes.
So the ATR here, it was low. So as of this area where it was low because the average movement of the pips per candle was very, very low. Since this is the 1 hour time frame, it means that the value there says 0.134. It means that the market was moving an average of 13 pips per candle. Are you getting it?
Yes.
13 pips per candle. This is the 1 hour time frame. The market will move an average of 13 pips. I hope you noticed that I didn't say 132.
Yes.
That thing is 0.132.
Yes.
So I did not mention that too. I have told you why. This is 0.132 points.
Yes.
10 points make a pip. Are you getting it?
Yes.
So 132 points is simply 13 pips or 13.2 pips.
Yes.
So we don't come and say it is 0.1 pips or 0.13 pips. No, it's 13 pips. Forget that 0 point non-area. This is for ATR.
Yes.
For ATR, this thing I'm saying now applies only to ATR. So forget about the 0 point in front of it. Forget about the last digit. Just 13 is what you need.
Yes.
So here, 13 pips was 134 points or 13 pips is the average movement that price was making per candle around this area. And why was it so low? You know it's very low, but
Yes.
if the reason is simply just look up here in the chart itself.
Yes.
Can't you see that place is also low?
Yes.
Are you getting it?
Yes.
Price wasn't moving much, so the ATR was low because it will do highest minus lowest.
Yes.
The highest price minus the lowest price, and then average it into 21 candles to get the ATR. So that's why the thing here was so low. Are you getting it?
Yes.
But here, the thing started rising. Why was it rising here? It's because the market started moving. So the distance, the pips was increasing, the range of pips was increasing. Are you getting it?
Yes.
So because it was increasing, the ATR started rising. So that is why around here, we are now having 0.498 as the value of the ATR, meaning 498 points.
Yes.
Meaning for 49 pips.
Yes.
Are you getting it?
It's moving.
So market is moving. So the market can move 49 pips in one candle. Are you getting it?
Yes.
Because the market is now moving. So this ATR can help you to know the average movement. I use it for when I'm placing my stop loss, and we will get there and we will talk about placing of stop loss and how you can use the ATR to help you when you are placing your stop loss. I use it for placing of stop loss.
Yes.
That's one of the major things I use it for. Are you getting it?
Yes.
I use it for stop loss. I use it for other things, but the major thing is for stop loss. So when you look at it here, when you see that the ATR is low around this area and you are trying to enter the market,
Yes.
you know that you are not supposed to expect the market to move much.
Yes.
Because the ATR is telling you that the market no dey move. Are you getting it?
Yes.
But around this area where the ATR is increasing, you know that if you enter any trade around this area, very soon they hit you to hit your profit.
Yes.
Or it will hit your stop loss, whichever one,
Yes.
because the market is moving. Are you getting it? And the thing, it seems like it is slowing down here again. So that is it for ATR, basically. Adding ATR. Remember I said if you want to add an ATR, you go to Insert, Indicators, Oscillators. The first one there is ATR. You click on it and then you set. Again, if you want to make changes to your ATR, just take your pointer to the ATR like this. And once you see that it has displayed that box telling you that this is your mouse is on the ATR. You now right click. When you right click, it will bring up this menu. You select properties of ATR. Then you can make changes to the period. If you say, okay, I don't want 21, let me use 14, meaning the last 14 candles. Are you getting it? The last 14 candles, we say, okay, and then notice how the thing changed a little bit. Can you see that?
Yeah.
This is not how it was looking before.
Yes.
We can also make further changes and say, okay, I don't want to use 14, let me use 7. You can use any number you like, but you can see the thing has changed again.
Yeah.
It changes according to the period you use. So don't use, I don't know, the only thing I can tell is that I normally use 14 or 21. That is what I use. So don't go and start putting 2 there. 2 means it is only going to check 2 candles. It does not make sense. It's going to check the last 2 candles. And don't go and put 200 there. It's not a moving average.
Yes.
200 means it's going to check the last 200 candles.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. It's too
Can
big.
use something like a 14 or with
Anything between, I would suggest you use anything between 10 and 25 or 24, 25 makes sense. It depends on the time frame you are looking at. We are looking at the 1 hour time frame. Are you getting it? So if you want to trade, you want to know how has the market been moving for the past maybe 24 hours
Yes.
or for the past even 48 hours,
Yes.
like 2 days ago.
Yes.
If you are using 1 hour time frame. So just know the time frame you are using and select the one that will match for that time frame. So me, because I use 1 hour time frame a lot, I leave it at 21. It's not as if I cannot use 24. I can use 24 to check for the last 24 candles, meaning the last 24 hours. You can do it since this is 1 hour time frame. Are you getting it? You say the last 24 candles. Are you getting it? So
Yes.
for the last 24 candles, the current value is, if you just look here, you will see the current value.
Yes.
Please, I need to explain this. If you look at the ATR, the number, any indicator, not just ATR, the number you see at the top here is the current value. The same thing with RSI. The current value of RSI is 29.
Yeah.
Abi? That's why you see it is constantly changing.
Okay.
Are you getting it? But if you want to know the value from a previous candle,
Yes.
I don't know if you're getting my point,
Yes.
from a previous
Can
time or in the past, you take your mouse to that time. Like if I want to know the ATR for this particular candle now, just take your mouse to that candle and look here at your left, this place, this data window.
Yeah.
So if you look there, you will see that the RSI there is 12 and the ATR is 15 points. Can you see that?
Yes.
Can you see it?
Yes.
ATR there is 15. But what is the current value of ATR? Is 27. Isn't it? Current value, look at it here now. This is the current value here now. I'm showing you. Don't stop looking here. Look at this. Look at this thing here. This is the current value.
Yes.
But here is, you look at this place only when you want to check previous candles. But if you're looking for the current value, don't look at this place. Just look here and you will see the current value. The current value now is 27. The current RSI now is 30. But if you want to know the RSI or ATR for a candle in the past, like this candle now that has a long tail, you just take your mouse to it and then you look on your left there, you will see the RSI there is 25. The ATR is 28 pips. No be so. So that is it for ATR. You understand how to put ATR on your chart?
Yes.
Okay. So you can now reduce the size if you don't if you want to have more space for your chart.
Yes.
You understand? Because you don't want this one to be like this
Yes.
and then this one like this. And then your chart is now small. Your chart is the main thing.
Yes.
You are not trading indicator, you are trading chart.
Charts. Yes.
I get it. You are trading price action and you can't see price action on indicator. You see it on the price chart itself. So that's why you have to, you just bring your mouse here, you click and drag down to where you want it to be. You can do the same thing here to make space for your chart. Exactly.
Because chart is very, very important more than indicator.
Yes. So take your time, make sure you have learned how to add these indicators and also how to remove them. If you want to remove them, the same thing, just take your mouse here, right click and delete indicator. it will delete this ATR. The same thing here, take your mouse here, right click, delete, it will delete it. All of them will go. Is that understood?
Yes.
In the future, I will show you how to put the ATR, instead of it to have its own separate window. Like if you look here, you will see that the price chart has its own window. The RSI has its own window, its own chart, and the ATR also has its own window or chart. Yeah? In the future, I'll show you how to put the ATR indicator inside the RSI. Both of them will be inside here.
Yes.
Are you getting it?
Yes.
So that way, it will even reduce the gap, the space.
Yes.
You understand? It's just as if you delete this one and then you carry this one and put inside here. So both of them will be showing inside here.
Okay.
Are you getting it? In the future, I'll show you how to do that, but it's an advanced level or something. Mutagodi, how to add the indicator first and remove it and make changes and be comfortable with working with indicator before we start going into the advanced one. That is how I do it on my own this thing, where I trade to, for example, let me show you here. If you look here, you will see RSI and ATR. Both of them are inside here. Can you see?
Yes.
Because I don't need I made the ATR to be very faint because I don't want it to fight with RSI. Both of them will fight, and I will not know which one is which one.
Yes.
So I made the ATR to be faint. All I'm interested here is the value.
Yes.
I'm not interested in the line itself.
Yes.
I don't know if you understand what I mean.
I understand.
That's what I'm talking about. That instead of having ATR separate, RSI separate, both of them are in the same box. But I made it faint. It is there. If you look very well, you will see it. If you look very well, you will see it. It's there.
But I don't see it.
I made it very faint. Look at it now. Look at it. I can see it is very faint. That's why I right-clicked and I got it. I gave it a color that is very, very faint. Look at the color I gave it, that lavender color. So that lavender color is quite faint here on white. It's very visible on black background, but it's very faint on white background. So that's why you can't see it. Okay? All right, so any question before I close for ATR?